You guys will not believe what's happening, but we are welcoming you back to What Have You. I'm Rachel Jankovic.
I'm Becca Merkel.
And we are alive. We are even, dare I say it, thriving. I doubt I dare. I don't think I should dare say that. But we're alive and we're podcasting.
And you may notice a strange new sound to us today because we are in Ben's old pickup truck. It's the 1960.
It's not running, lest you not be able to hear us.
Can you tell how echoey it is in
we're
here?
in
It's
an
all
echo
metal.
chamber.
It's like metal everything. So, anyway, guys.
So, we're delinquent, but we did recently gather ourselves up to podcast, and then the whole time we just looked at John Singer Sargent pictures on the internet.
We sat next to each other on our phones, Googling Sargent paintings and showing them to each other, going, no, look at this one.
Look at this one. This one's amazing. And but the reason is because he's good, and it was worth the afternoon. It was worth it. Well, it wasn't the whole afternoon. We just did it instead of podcasting. That we did.
Well,
that
it was because we only had a window of like 50 minutes, and then 7 minutes of that got taken up already with
and then we decided to just devote the other 40 to it.
It's too late now.
Anyways, what I'm saying is we may be slammed busy. We may have too many projects. We may be doing all kinds of things like that, but we're not so busy that we don't spend an hour Googling up other John Singer Sargent pictures.
And it's, you know what, honestly, the ones that everyone has seen of his are not nearly as good as all the ones that nobody has.
They're they're good. It's just that you already saw it, so you're not blown away by it. Yeah, no, you
don't. The one of the little girls standing around among the Ming pots is fine.
We settled on the fact that we were sort of discussing how does he catch so much real life in his paintings, and it is amazing. And my theory is that no one is having a mirror face. Everyone looks like they wouldn't be looking like that if they could see themselves. But that he's really accurately catching.
He's putting into their face like an alive moment between
it's coming and going. And so because he catches an expression about to happen or having just happened, you get the sense that the person's really alive because you feel the whole story. Yeah. It's sort of like the early, what are those bursts that iPhone photos sometimes do, where you accidentally take a whole sequence. It looks like a short video. Mm-hmm. I only ever do that feature on accident. I never meant to do that. It just happens on accident. But my point is, he does that. He manages to capture it. So you can see that we could very easily turn this into a whole episode about how...
Because I think that what happens with Sargent is you don't just see the person. You see what Sargent saw in the person.
Well, you can tell if he thinks they're funny.
Yes.
And you can tell if he thinks they're a little pompous or smug, or if they're just lovely and lively.
A bit of a diva.
Yes. Or really beautiful and unaware. Yeah. Which I think was his, some of those Middle Eastern ones that he did. And and the Italian girl with the fan looks like it's the very lovely, but not concentrating on their loveliness. Just sort of lovely in passing.
Some woman with an uppity face with her eyes
standing in a big pompous, huge puff sleeve droopy bodice monstrosity, and she just looks mean-spirited. just thin-hearted.
Or the guy with the glasses who's just looking like kind of slack-jawed.
And the guy with the mustache that's like taking off somehow. and then that one kind of plump, cute, happy lady that he did sort of from behind her, like where it's like a profile from behind her cheek, kind of, but she just looks like a good piece of news. She looks like a lot of fun.
It's true.
So you can see that we spent our time wisely. And now you should know that I had a story I was going to tell you. We just got finished with the NSA alumni dinner.
You should know that it is... What time is it? It's
in
late.
the cavernous dark night.
It's late on a Saturday
it's
night.
It's probably 9:30.
It's pretty late.
Late for us.
It's dark. We're in a truck.
Speaking of which, I have to interject this before that I agreed to do a South African radio thing live. I was like, yeah, sure. And then it turned out to be from midnight to 2 in the morning, which was, I was like, I'm not sure I'm going to sparkle at midnight to 2. I really would be afraid to listen back on what I might have shared with South Africa. And actually, I'll tell you a breathtaking moment that occurred. So, and actually, I happen to know the guy who interviewed me, or his wife listens to our podcast. So, big shout out to you here. And I sent him a picture in Skype of my floor loom because the wife wanted to know.
Oh, man.
Said she listens to us even though she does not know what a floor loom is yet.
Oh, so you got it.
So I was like, well, let's resolve that.
So it might be a good
ASAP.
time for you to apologize. Out there, South Africa.
Dear South Africa, forgive whatever I was doing upon your radio in the middle of the night. No, but I had to download the Skype app.
Okay.
Well, I'm like sitting in bed at midnight.
You Skyped from bed?
Well, it was just audio.
That's just tempting fate right
It was,
there.
no, I got up. I was just waiting.
I
was just sitting in bed because Luke was there, and I was like, kind of whatever. But that was the breathtaking moment because I was in my PJs and not at all, looking to do a video conference. and what starts ringing is a Skype video call, a Skype video chat, and I was like, ah! It wasn't. It was all just audio. But at the time, I had a terrifying moment when I thought, am I supposed to be appearing in video?
Throw a blazer on over the PJ.
Oh, dark times. Anyways, that worked out fine, and I stayed awake. Congratulate me, everyone, for that job.
Good job.
Okay. That's just say this is all a prelude to what really tickled me super hard tonight.
Ready for it.
So we go to this dinner, and
it was an
right
NSA,
as soon as the dinner,
New St. Andrews alumni event dinner thing. Is where we were.
And we were tired. Luke painted all day, and we were busy doing stuff all day. It was like it was an industrious sort of a Saturday. So then you go barely squeaking into a dinner. Mm-hmm. And then we were tired. And then we leave the dinner.
Okay.
And we drive to Winco because tomorrow after church we're having a big bunch of people to lunch.
Rash. That was rash of you.
No, it's fine. But we're doing that tomorrow. But our house is not exactly there.
Right.
It's there enough that I think we can feed people in it. It is not there in the sense of come admire how much we're ready. Right. It's not that. It's sort of like come get a feeling for what might be sometime. Anyways, Luke and I leave us saying we're both really tired.
That is a cop, Rachel.
It is.
You guys, we're outside my house.
He's not coming to us.
But why did he stop right there?
Because somebody else was going to get in trouble. Why would we get in trouble for sitting in a truck outside?
And he saw us that we're in the truck.
Is your house a drug drop?
Why are we such a magnet for cop activity? See? He's trying to decide.
He's not doing anything about us.
No, he is. He's slowly rolling away.
I think he might be inspecting the neighborhood houses. If he comes around the block, guys, we'll just know that what have you is destined for cop interference. So, anyways, what I'm trying to tell you, he is really slow. Maybe he's just being on the phone with someone.
Maybe. All right, go ahead.
Maybe he's podcasting live from the streets of Moscow. The cop. If he comes back around, though, mercy. Maybe he thinks we're staking out the Catholic Church.
Yeah, it'll be a lesson to us never to podcast after dark. The cops will know.
Okay, so Luke and I are sitting at the Winco in the parking lot, trying to ascertain
Okay.
What do we need to
All right.
buy in order to be able to feed a bunch of people after?
Sure.
Right
Yeah.
after church.
Yeah.
So we're just sitting there having our... And I guess lest we ever think we're too much of movers and shakers getting too much done, I looked down and realized that I have recorded on my voice memo app 8 minutes of our conversation that we're having in the Waco parking lot.
Oh. We can tack it on to our podcast.
Well, so then we're both very tired.
Okay.
So it looks like I'll play that back. So we turn it back on, at which we nearly die with the hilarity of our own voice memo. And this is what I mean, lest you think you're really all that.
This is just a little bit ago tonight.
This is only moments ago, but it was before I got the second wind from laughing so hard at this.
Are you gonna play it?
I gotta play some
Oh,
of this.
you guys, we get a voice memo of a voice memo.
It's like my lunchbox I had when I was a really little kid that had the picture of the same lunchbox on the front of the lunchbox.
Oh man!
And I always
Yeah.
thought that it actually went on for eternity. That
Yeah.
like the Care Bear or something, it was holding a Care Bear lunchbox that was holding a Care Bear lunchbox that was holding. Okay, here's some. This is just part of it. Certainly isn't the whole depth of the riches, but we laughed until we were like crying.
Okay.
Which is fine.
Yeah, so help me out here, Sporty. What would be a gooder food? Like a main dish.
I'm thinking.
Do you think it'd be better to just do something like lasagna?
What about chili? Chili, no.
Doesn't sound very good to me. We have
What's a dish that's not generally loved? It's good with for lots of people. We haven't had in a while. That's simpler. Chicken lasagna.
what a small ask. So I was going to make Passover chicken, all those chicken thighs. But I think that really goes better with sourdough, like crusty bread. And we don't have time to do that. Sourdough is.
Yeah, I agree.
So we could do red beans and rice.
This is a high point.
But
Put it in the Instapot.
no, I don't have it for Sabbath. But
I think that's really good.
it is, but it's also kind of a... there are people among us who don't want beans.
Okay, so you can see how that turned our whole night around.
So what did you come down on?
No, this is a great thing. We came down. We came down on where we started.
Chicken?
No, we're doing a soup.
Oh.
Oh my word. Oh, but we both were just like crying. We were laughing so hard at like, lest you think we're really effective people who are getting a lot done.
You can tell Luke's eyes are closed.
Oh,
the
he's
whole
like,
time.
and then he says,
When
really
you say, help me out here, what should we have? He says, chicken.
But it was too funny to me, and it felt like we were really wrestling with the issues. And then you listen to it, you're like, what were we doing? It's like 4-minute gaps in the conversation, and then someone says, chili? No.
Let me tell you about Ben and I and our special moment from today. So we're working on our kitchen pantry. So we're trying to finish this one cabinet.
Oh,
and
wow.
the pantry is basically our scratch page. Like, we're trying things in the pantry to see if we can do it. So it's like, we're going to see if Ben can build drawers, How does that work? And then can we do a marble countertop and stuff? So anyway, today we're trying to finish it off. Both of us were trying to cut the marble because that's sort of a two-person job because it's a real slick endeavor because you have the garden hose.
All the water, yeah.
So it's basically an impressive scene. Anyhow, so I'm trying to punch the tin for the front of the drawer. And I'm in the house punching the tin, and Ben's outside trying to get the marble cut. And I should say the punch tin is also because it's the potato drawer. We've spoken of this before. You need circulation. Anyway, so I did that. Anyhow, so we've got this situation going on. And then our dog, Daddy, pukes all over the downstairs. Like, huge mess in the kitchen. Another mess over by the sink. This sort of unfolds upon me as I'm walking in to the bedroom because I'm also trying to do laundry. So I go in. It's time to switch laundry. I go in to grab our sheets. I catch sight of this in the kitchen. And I stand there. And I'm like, no! And then I try to take a step.
No!
And my foot slips. No! And I'm like, what? And I am standing directly in a pile of vomit, which I had not seen, but I was standing in it, drinking in the situation that is in the kitchen. Now, ordinarily, the obvious move here would be to make the children clean it up.
And your kids knew what was up and they left.
Nobody was home. It was just Ben and me.
Not only that, but it is a little low to ask other people to clean your shoes off for you.
So I was like, you're joking me. And Ben's outside, and I go outside in a wild, screaming panic. And I'm like, Ben, I can't do it alone. I need help. It's so bad. And so,
Did you get it?
well, what happened was Ben comes in. And I'm like, Ben, I can't do it. Like, I can't. It's really bad. It's not a child of mine. I can't do it.
I'm not man enough for this.
I'm not man enough. And you are man enough. So he gets the, like a dustpan and a piece of cardboard so that he can try to shovel up a bit and, dispose of it. So you've got to get it down to where you can work with the paper towel, but you can't work with it yet because you have to use the shoveling mechanisms. So I'm like trying not to look because it's like too much. It was a bridge too far today. And Ben shovels it up. And then I'm standing around the corner of the pantry. And then he just gags. And then I start dry heaving in the pantry. And then he starts gagging. And we're like, stop. And he does another pile. And he gags and I gag. Just from not even looking. I just hear him gag and then I gag. So finally,
Marbles have gotten soft.
So Ben's like, go outside on the porch because when you're gagging, it's way worse. And so I have to go stand on the porch so that Ben can shovel it up in peace without me dry heaving in the pantry. It was It was just one of those times as a couple, you know, when you're like, this is real good.
Well, we did some top shelf parenting today when the little boys were outside while Luke was painting. And I don't know why, but at some point Shadrach was given permission to do something with an axe. And
okay.
I don't know what deed it was he was going to do with it, but he had the axe, and I came out and I was like, whoa, what are you doing with the axe? And he was like, Dad said it's okay. And I was like, all right, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But later on, we find out that when they went down to visit with the cousin's kids, they took the axe. and then Shadrach gave it to one of the other boys. It was like, my dad says it's fine.
Oh, no.
So they were trying to, like, axe up some things down there. Like, no, that's not it.
That's perfect. That's what you wanted to have.
Yeah. Also, a highlight from this week was that I went to a rummage sale with Moses the day after he had looked at all of Nana's pictures from France.
Okay.
With her. And he was really full of news about what he'd heard about France.
Okay.
From the pictures. Because he would tell me spontaneously about how there's a tower that they put Christians in.
Yeah, all right.
You know, that kind of stuff.
He's ready for it.
We go to a rummage sale at a local church that was built in the 60s, I think, that was pretty architecturally speaking, it's not
It was built in the 60s.
shooting the moon. It was built in the 60s. But we pull into the parking lot and Moses goes, are these the ruins? I was like, I don't know why, but I think I'm ready to call that church the ruins now because it was
And
like,
probably in some metaphorical sense, it is the
I was like,
ruins.
interesting, the ruins. This is not the ruins. We don't actually have a ruins here. Haven't been around long enough to have a
We
ruins.
have some theological ruins.
We have those. We have some. Well, we actually do have ruins, but it's ruins of farmhouses, not castles or anything
It's
of real.
ruined barns.
Well, I'm glad to know you and Ben are such softies on the vomit now.
Dog vomit, Rach. It's not the same.
Well, I wouldn't put it in a class
Yeah,
below human vomit. Vomit of all kinds. I could do without.
Well, me too, but it was. I'm not gonna get into the deets.
I'll believe you. I believe
was
you
not
that it
good.
was a dark time.
No, it's not good.
Yeah. So,
No.
other than John Singer Sargent and our local home improvement projects, I'll tell you that highlight reel from my new house.
Yeah.
The things that so far I can tell are good ideas. Sorry. You want a mint?
Yeah, I want a minute.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So there's cinnamon.
Thanks.
Somehow I feel like you need to be prepared for that. So the things that are a really good idea.
Okay.
Number one, the sink was a really good idea.
Good.
Want you all to know that was a good idea. And so it's working. The sink is working beautifully. Our island is currently sort of a stack of old junky furniture that we're checking to see if we want to make into an island. And if so, if it's the size that we want it to be, you know, or whatever. But the other thing that's looking really excellent is the under the stairs.
Oh, yeah.
That has a big future.
Yeah. Has a big future in my sanctification, I suspect.
Features heavily. I'll tell you, it's gonna be a while before like the shelving is right or before it really makes perfect sense. But we have this under the stair landing. It's like a through passage that's storage. Anyways, today we finally got all the construction junk out of it.
Oh, that's big.
Yeah, so you kind of could actually see it as like, what could we put in here? And we put all of our folding tables
Oh man, that's
in there.
really nice.
We didn't put folding chairs in there, but we will. And you can just tell, like, no, this is good times. Good times are going to be had here.
Yeah.
So that's good.
That's awesome.
And also, I bought some really good mud mats. That's exciting.
Tell us about that. That sounds like a hot tip.
Well, it was funny because I grew up in Moscow, lived here my whole life. We moved a couple miles outside of town. And it's like a different world out there.
Yeah.
It's a whole other thing happening.
Mm-hmm.
So we were in Lewiston and I went into the North 40 store. Which is the kind of place where they have like, what do they have? Like cattle pens? Huge stacks of...
You just scared her to death.
I'm sorry.
You did. She just turned around with a gasp.
It's because that was weird and I snorted, but I thought Well, pardon. Passerby talking in another language on the phone in the dark. So, they have like huge towering stacks of like enormous horse watering troughs and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a very inspirational store. You go, but the funny part was that it seemed so very relevant to my life that we got there and I was like, oh, because we moved into our house, guys. And just like that, our bird dog, who is a nice dog, although the evidence does not support that right now.
Did she puke all over everything?
She didn't puke. We moved into our house and to welcome ourselves to the neighborhood, she killed the neighbor's chicken. Which is just mean-spirited of her. And we did not mean to meet and greet with the neighbors like that. But we did. And it's not like someone who just is all about the eggs either. It's someone who has the chickens as like companions.
Friends.
Yeah.
Companion chickens.
And then we had the bird dog. I mean, really poor sportsmanship on our part. Anyways, then I had to go to North 40 to buy her a shock collar because she's been living without the law. And that was part of the problem. But then she got shocked. She's very sensitive to correction. So she got shocked once. Since she's had the shock collar. And now she's like, won't do it. She won't set foot outside without you right there to get her out there. She's being very shy and regrets her decisions. But all this is to say, North 40 had a huge pile of like multiple models of mud mats out in the front.
Yeah.
Turns out we need a mud mat at our house right now.
I need a mud mat.
Not the same way you don't.
I bet you're right.
Uh-huh.
But I still need a mud mat.
Yeah, but it's like a bouncy rubber thing with big holes in it and like nubs. It's like a snow tire, kind of. And everything would fall under it.
Okay.
It's a good call. We're getting boring. Let's think of something else.
I actually felt pretty gripped. I was like,
you think we should make chicken? Long pause.
I was kind of like, I was working through the issues on whether or not I needed a mud mat.
You might think about it because it's not something you want to mess with. It's the country mud situation.
I think when you have a lawn, that will also take some of the edge off.
That's our hope.
Right
but we
now,
won't have a lawn right now.
No, right now you just have a big mud pile.
Oh, the other good idea for my house.
Yeah.
Tour of good ideas. You guys, this one's a real dork of me, but I did it. This is a thing I did where you do it knowing the whole time that nobody will think you're normal. And you're like, what?
Like perhaps punching tin for the front of your potato drawer.
Yeah, but I feel like that's more accepted as a thing people might want, which is a punched tin potato drawer.
I don't know that it is, Rach.
Huh. Well, this is the fact that
as
when
far
it
as
came...
I know, no one's ever been in that market before.
Oh, well, when it came to choosing a sink for our master bathroom, I couldn't be moved by any of the sinks. I was like, these are just dumb. This is dumb. And I don't like it. And I don't like it because it seems really dumb to me. And Just don't know why we're doing this. But the thing is, so we decided to only do one sink because it's not like we have incredible sink traffic jams all the time with just the two of us. You know, it's not like an emergency that we each own a sink in the bathroom. So we just did one. But then when I went to get the sink, I was like, these are so stupid. I hate these sinks.
Yeah.
So we bought a kitchen sink for our master. It's just a one bowl kitchen sink, so it's not like I bought a built-in vegetable strainer or anything. But it has the squirt hose. Really? Oh yeah, we have a big faucet on a kitchen sink with the squirt hose, and I'll tell you, no regrets. You just hose out that sink, you just clean it off. Also, you could fill a water bottle if you needed to.
Right.
You know, how often do you just hate that you can't work a sink to do what you want a sink to do?
Well, our bathroom sink is a complete flop as far as sinks go. So I could get really behind that because even washing your face must be fabulous.
Yes, because the faucet comes up and arches, and our counter is tall, so it's like the water just comes to you. You could just drink out of the faucet if you wanted to, and if that seemed uncomfortable, just spray it in your mouth. Okay, but here's where I've really taken this to the outer limits of polite society, and I really love it. Which is that we just bought we have a Keurig in our bathroom and dish soap and a sponge to wash our mugs out. We can make coffee. I don't even have to leave my bedroom because everything's in there. In the morning, I just come in, get a coffee, get in the shower, get dressed.
That's amazing.
That is really a highlight for me. Well, and I need to clarify. I'm not trying to belittle our bathroom, because I really like it. But it's not like we were doing a radical luxury spa bathroom. What I'm talking about, it's a nice size master bathroom. No, but we shrunk the master and the master to fit more kids' bedrooms in there. And it's very nice sized. It's generous. It's great. It works great. But this is not like a spa retreat situation. The spa is the fact that it's a kitchen sink.
And a Keurig.
And if that's not enough to make you happy, I don't know what will.
I actually love that because you would feel like you could wash your mugs in a acceptable way. Yeah. Yeah,
and I have a sponge on a little dish beside it ready to go. So you can... But that's the other thing that I've always disliked about bathroom sinks, and I realized, is that in a kitchen sink, you always have all the implements right there to clean the sink out.
Yeah.
And in a bathroom sink, there's always this uncertainty about what are you supposed to do with that. Like, do you go into a deep clean mode? Should you bother with a rag right now? Yeah. Should you get out paper towels and make soggy paper towels? It's never really plain. So I feel really comforted by knowing my path. Yeah.
I like it. It
might be a little dorky, but I'm happy with it. That's how it is.
That's good.
You wouldn't believe the magnitude of garbage that we appeared to have packed and brought to our new house.
Oh, I would. I would believe it.
It's unreal, though, because I really thought that we were getting rid of stuff, but
have I said before on the podcast when we moved to England, there was a big fluster of a summer because we found out in June that Ben got in and we needed to be there in September and our house was torn apart. Shockingly, I know that's a surprise, but our house was torn apart. Mm-hmm. We had to finish a remodel, pack our whole life up, and move across the world. Mm-hmm. So
pretty low-key, really.
Yeah, pretty low-key. And it was with only what we could take in our suitcases. And everyone had 2 70-pounders, so that was actually quite a hideous amount of luggage, but it was also not nearly enough to live on for a year, so it was nuanced. And then when we got to England, we start unpacking those suitcases. I had packed a flat of mason jars.
You did it.
Yes, I did. little short, wide-mouthed ones.
Well, what were you going to do with them?
I
that made
just
them...
felt like it was important to have. And the other thing that came with me was that Ben, I remember Ben's face as he pulled these out of the suitcase and was like, what? I packed 3 large pear-shaped gourds.
The things we can't let go of. Oh,
It's gonna be important that I have these.
Well, I remember when Nate and Heather got engaged, and they got engaged pretty quickly because they got engaged at Thanksgiving, right? And then they got married in March. So it was a pretty quick turnaround time, and they weren't dating very long when they got engaged. So it was a whirlwind lifestyle. But I remember I didn't even know Heather that well, and she had this like all of a sudden uproot, and they were going to be in Annapolis for like 6 weeks and then Idaho. So she was trying to pack for both, for like, what do we need in Annapolis?
Right.
What do we need in Idaho? And what should I get rid of? And but all of it has to go somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember just being in her bedroom with her while she was just really intensely with some bubble wrap and a piece of Scotch tape rolling up a light bulb to tape it up in bubble wrap. And I was like, I think you can buy those wherever you go. But it's like, I should put this in a box.
Well, that was the thing.
I might need to pack all these plastic hangers.
I still have those 3 pear-shaped gourds because...
Well, you hung on to them. By the time they go over there...
After taking them once, I was like, well, we'd better keep these. I mean...
Yeah, these are world-traveling gourds.
Yeah, and I remember I used those mason jars as, like, spice jars, but still, like, what a thing to do. And I'm just saying that I am with you on I moved a bunch of stuff, but why?
Yeah. Well, I think a good filter for my kids' stuff, because when you're trying to help a kid pack, it's just, they're like, no, I love that. And it's a time of upheaval. Yeah. So you don't want to just be like, too bad. I don't care that you like your bathrobe. Yeah. It's gone. And anyway, so I let them pack some stuff. But I did find that what lingers in a box in their room after we get there is what they don't actually want.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I'm not going to get that out of there. That's weird. I don't want that. So we just gather up all of our boxes of garbage every day and try to throw them away. That's what I've been doing, mostly.
Sounds good. Mm-hmm. Sounds like progress.
Yeah. Yeah, it is progress. We have countertops.
You have countertops. I have a shard of marble in my pantry.
That's good. Mm-hmm. Lucky marble shard. We have our... I will say our kitchen is big, and we knew it was going to be big. I mean, we wanted it to be big, but we knew when I was working on the layout of the kitchen that it was like, this is not the cozy little kitchen from your... No. This is not a nook. This is a big area. And the work triangle is
large. Spread out.
Yeah, you get a little bit of and every time we were just making something small in there, you really notice that. You notice the sort of, maybe I should do a defensive slide over to the fridge, get something out, and scooch her back over to rollerblades. But some of that we'll figure it out as time goes on. But you're like trying to butter a piece of toast, and it's like a 400-yard dash to get all the implements involved. Like, but where's the knife? Oh, all the way over there. Where's the butter? Back to the fridge. Where's the toaster? Nobody knows. That's going to take me a long time. And anyways, but then I did one day of like a lot of baking, and it was like the kitchen just was very unthreatened by all of the things I had going at once. And that was really fun that was fun because I was like, this is why we made this kitchen, and it is actually really right for this.
That's awesome.
It was a really, that was
That's
happy.
fun.
That was a good time.
That's awesome.
So hopefully we'll do a lot more of that, and they will.
Yeah, you'll get there.
Well, that's the dream.
I feel like now that we've whittled away the whole evening just being weird.
Yeah, we should talk about something of value.
I have something of value that I want to say.
I like the intro to saying something.
I have something of value.
Do it, Beck, please. Redeem our time.
Here's what I've been noticing lately around. Now, this isn't unusual. This is something we're surrounded by everywhere, but the disagree with something, right? Let's say you found a thing you disagree with. It doesn't take too much time to find one of those things.
In person, like with a friend on the internet?
Online,
Okay.
in person, something a person said in your presence one time, something you found on Facebook, any of these things. Here's what I feel like women need to figure out. And men too, but I think more so the women. Young, old, and medium. Just disagree with the thing. Don't get mad.
Wouldn't that be a treat?
because the getting mad because you found a thing that you disagree with.
That's boring.
It's boring and
it's not
also,
just boring, it's boorish.
It's boring, it's boorish, and it's ungodly.
Well, that's more important.
But it is really funny to me because it doesn't seem to matter what it is. Like, somebody could have said that they disagree with Tylenol, and you'll have women getting angry about it. And I just feel like this is so important for women and teaching your daughters to be able to be bigger than the situation. Mm-hmm. Like, disagree with it, fine, but don't be so threatened by everything. Because I feel like when...
No, it's like being the little dog in a car that's just freaking out.
A little bald chihuahua.
Like, and you want to tell it, like, don't you know that you're parked in the middle of a busy parking lot and you should just shut up? Because this is actually not your territory. Yeah. It's not, nobody's hurting you. You're just being a dork in there. And a mean dork. Like, nobody even thinks, wow, interesting dog.
But it's just so deciding to be threatened by everything. And I think when you're trying to raise your daughters...
with younger girls, though, younger being like college, probably teens, I don't think that they're threatened by it. I think they're looking first. They think that activism of some kind is what gives you meaning or any weight of anything interesting, which if you're a Christian teenager or college student, you're like, I just saw a group of bedraggled high school students marching around with lame Save the Planet posters. Like, I don't know what they were doing, but they needed a cause, and that having a cause is like the thing that makes them feel important.
Sure.
And I think that that's the problem.
But here's the thing. Have a cause. That's great.
No, but I'm saying the problem is that you're without one. Because a Christian should never be without a cause. Because we have the central one, which is sharing the gospel, being, spreading the gospel into our lives. So when a girl in the church, like, freaks out about, like, they go on a little rampage about all the women in this church think that eyeliner is too much or something, and they go on a little, like, rampage of justice about that. It's like, get a bigger perspective. Like, go ahead and wear the eyeliner, but just don't make a fuss.
But that's the thing
is,
I think sometimes girls feel like it makes them seem tough. It makes them seem like they're like, don't mess with me.
Yeah.
I am a strong woman with opinions.
But it's opposite.
But the thing is you come off like a old lady. Like, not a nice old lady.
A pearl clutching situation.
Yeah, like gasping, clutching your pearls, getting offended, screeching at people, bossing them around, and it really does not actually make you seem
No, it's very finger
tough.
wagging.
Yeah, it doesn't make you seem tough. It actually makes you seem brittle and threatened and insecure. And so I feel like, let's say you find a thing that you disagree with. Just be bigger than that.
Well,
Like,
I have an interesting...
laugh and move on.
This is something I was thinking about. I told you some of this anyways, but it was in a particular situation that I was talking with a friend about something. And we were talking about letting love cover it. So, actually, we've touched on a number of things. The bird dog was one. Personality-wise...
The bird dog. What are we?
My bird dog killing a chicken.
Oh, sure.
A lot of these things tie together for me. The metaphor of the bird dog did, because I think in many ways I am like a bird dog. Also, I think you are. I think we all are. Our family is a breed of bird dogs.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, that's a perfectly good... It's a dog that God made for a purpose, with a desire to serve their master, to do particular things, to find the pheasants in the bushes and run around and flesh them out and make a big to-do about it. And it was like, but there's no sin at all in being a bird dog. There's no sin in having the instinct and having the vision to see something and wanting to do something about it. The sin is when you won't listen to your master yelling no.
Right.
And you go murder a chicken because you're a bird dog. Like, if you're like...
Yeah.
And I'm not, just to be clear, I'm not saying the dog was sinning, although very likely she was. But I am saying that in my own behavior, the very things that are virtues that God gave me are vices if they're not in total submission to Him. And they become destructive. So something that could be constructive and good turns in that little instant into destructive.
Well, because you could have a mother who is devoted to her children, to protecting her children.
Right.
That could be a virtue, and it could also turn into a horrific vice.
Well, like, it's a virtue until all of a sudden she's like, I won't let them do that. I won't be that. You know, like, where until all of a sudden her instincts are drowning out the master's voice, and they're like, no, her instincts are taking over.
And maybe you're like, well, I'm just outspoken, and it's like, okay,
right. So
that could be a virtue,
and
but
actually,
it can easily turn into a vice,
right? And if we're talking about my own personality, that's the one that we're talking about, which is, it could be a virtue to like see the problem, like, and want to be like, I would say that I have a. Sometimes it's quite useful in really dumb applications, but the kind of problem solving. Like, you want to solve a problem. Like, why can't I fill a water bottle up in my sink? Well, I know what I'll do.
Yeah.
Whatever. You have a problem solving approach. Well, you can get into a situation where you're like, just get really myopic about the problem. Yeah. You know,
or
and
you
like wanting to be
maybe you're like super tenderhearted, and that could be a real virtue. It could also turn into cowardice,
right?
And you know, like it could go for vice. So
the thing what I was gonna try to tie this into is the fact that what struck me. Well, actually, unless you want to keep talking about that aspect of it, I was just gonna say,
I really want to keep on talking.
Well, I was thinking, I just hope I'm not too abruptly moving on. I was thinking about in John, because in the Bible reading challenge we were just reading John, and there's that part where Jesus is washing Peter's feet, and he goes to wash his feet, and first Peter's like, "No, Lord, don't wash my feet," and then Jesus says, like, unless I do this, you have no part of me,
right?
Like, and then Peter says, "Well, then wash my hands and my head also," and Jesus says, "No, like if you've had a bath, it's your feet that need to be washed." And I just think that's an interesting thing, because do you think Jesus is really giving a hygiene lesson there? Like, yes, but also no, because what just struck me is that when in dealing with other people, when you have the ability, as I know so many of our listeners do, because so many I would say so many eager, active Christian women have a natural inclination towards like seeing the problem. Like those young moms are doing something I don't like, you know, or this group of women in the church, I don't like that. This, you know, like these, you see a problem and you want to go at it and attack it, which is what you're talking about. Like you disagree with that. And so you want to go like, fix it right now. Like I'm going to go get in there and just correct everyone real quick. I'm going to get in there and be like, this upsets me the way you run a potluck. You know, whatever. So, but the thing that just really struck me is that passage that about let love cover a multitude of sins. It's not saying pretend a multitude of sins don't exist.
No.
It's saying, well, you think God is love. Well, it says essentially we're saying let God and the love of God cover a multitude of sins.
Yeah.
What you're saying is, it just connected in my mind with that John passage. They were saying that if you know someone, if someone is saved, and if you know that they have an active relationship with Jesus, meaning you know he is washing their feet.
Right.
You know they're saved. You know they have had a bath, right? Yeah. And you know that their feet are clean because you know that they actually do confess their sin and they are like dealing with Jesus. Well, then it's not our job. In that case, it's not our job to be running around with being like, you have a smudge on your face and you have this and you have, you know, like kind of like always analyzing the other things that should have been taken care of. Because that when you say, let's let the love of God cover this multitude of sins, that's you too. You know, it's not just your neighbor. It's saying, let the love of God cover all the sins that I have that I don't even see. Like, it's not on my radar because if I knew, I would be crushed by this knowledge.
Yeah.
You know, like, we don't have the capacity to know all of our failings.
No.
Praise the Lord.
And I do think that, that loops in with what I was trying to say, too, which is
well, I was trying to loop it in.
But we meandered out and then we came back around. Yeah. But it's like, yes, let love cover it. But it doesn't mean you have to agree with everything anybody says.
No,
but be able to disagree with something without getting wound up into a schnitzel about it and freaking out to all your friends.
Because to what end? Like, and this is actually an interesting. This ties in well with the Bible Read Challenge, which is that we have this huge group of women, 17,000 women or something, really wild differences of opinion in that group on Facebook, but there is the beauty of just the confidence that we all are coming to the Word. In other words, we're all having our feet washed.
Right.
We're all coming to the Word. We're all being washed in the Word. We're all having our Savior address our problems, and that in doing that we can let love cover a very vast multitude of offensive things that we bring up one to another. And
if you have to disagree, if you have to take it on in some way, like you can't just scroll past it and be done, which there's a lot of virtue there. Just scroll past, guys. Just let it drift up in your feed. Don't feel like you have to take a plunge
Also, that's that missionary quote. The need is not the call.
Exactly.
And if you see someone that you think needs to be corrected, it is not the same thing as the call for you to go correct.
Right. But let's say that it is. It's so important that you be able to be bigger than the situation. Like, that you can remain calm. You can let your heart not be stirred up into a little tempest in a teapot. But you can just be chill. And unthreatened and cheerful and joyful, and you can still disagree with something and not let it ruin your whole afternoon. And that's what I think a lot of women just take it on board and let it ruin their whole day because they're so upset about whatever the thing was that the guy said that they didn't like.
I was talking to someone today among my children. I have children with different tendencies. And I have one child who, when corrected for something, especially in the hustle and bustle of life, when you like just kind of toss out a correction. And by correction, I really mean like, don't do it that, not like a huge deal. one who, when surprised by that, is far more likely to argue about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wasn't going to, or I wouldn't do that, or that wasn't me, or, that's the rebuttal that comes back. And another one whose rebuttal is emotional.
Yeah.
That, like, if you throw a casual, like, that it would be like, look, even just in body language, look hurt, or look. Yeah. And I don't mean neither of these people do this all the time. I'm talking about in a moment of weakness. But we were talking about how it's the same thing. It's the same self-defense response. And so sometimes if you're really tempted, if a church lady says something like, let me pick a particularly scandalous one from not long ago. It's probably active in some places. I was going to say yoga pants, but now it's all leggings. Say a church woman says, leggings are completely inappropriate and no Christian woman should wear that in public ever, period. Like, so you may like your leggings and you may wear your leggings to the grocery store and to carpool and to everywhere. And if you're feeling stung by someone else's opinion, well, in that case, there's a lot of options that are alive in that situation. But throwing all your emotions into it is unacceptable. Yep. Like throwing every bit of, because it's exactly like, it's just like throwing a emotional bomb at the situation instead of...
What you should do is you should say, like, oh, I totally and completely disagree. And then you could think, but I wonder if she's right.
Or you could say, that's interesting.
Let's think about that.
I've been wearing leggings all over the place, and so far, I hadn't thought of that. But I'll talk to my husband about it, and I'll pray about it, and I'll think about it.
And I'll actually listen to what you said.
And that if later you're like, I checked all of the places, I'm pretty sure this is not violating a scriptural thing, here's why I think that they're modest, or whatever. I think you're wrong, but I might be that stodgy old lady that would like to offend everyone else. But I just mean you might have a different opinion at the end of the day, but you still have a soft heart towards the woman, towards the issue, towards whatever. You haven't done a thing where
it's so different to do that than to say, I can't believe that she would say something.
And then to go call all
that.
your other friends and slander the woman who said it to get their support in your emotional campaign.
Don't you know that my dear friend wears leggings all the time and she's really suffering right now, and I can't believe that you would say something so hurtful.
What's wrong with you? Your people is why no one stays in church today. You're the hypocrite. I mean, I think just really maybe stuff it a little bit and instead think about the issue without detach your own emotional response from the discussion.
Yeah, don't let your emotions run out there and get covered in mud.
And also I think that this ties in with, we're going to go over time now about emotional control. I was going to say, don't indulge. It's a bad deal if you're calling other people to emotionally vent about something to drum up support for how you feel hurt because you want, that's a bad deal. Yeah. So I'm just going to say you shouldn't be doing that. But after that, you should also not be indulging in private bouts of crazy self-indulgence about that kind of thing either. And so the idea is, if you're really offended by something, I would say it's not just what you shouldn't do, it's what you should do, which is give it to God open-handedly. Like, Lord, that made me uncomfortable, or that, but is this of you that you want me to feel this? Is this, work it out with God and not with everybody else before you finish the conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, if someone throws in a rebuke to you sometime, or something painful comes up suddenly, it's always a good idea to just say, I'll think and pray about it.
Yeah.
And I'll get back to you. Instead of, you don't need to have the whole argument.
Right.
If someone's like, here's what I'm going to do. I want to tell you all the things you're doing wrong.
Yeah.
Just say, I'll pray about that.
Yeah.
And then see you later.
Yeah. Thanks for the input.
Yeah. So,
well,
we should shut up now.
We should shut up. We should. Indeed.
We should start talking about some lame menu we could plan for something.
I hope it pans out for you tomorrow.
I hope so too.
And
I
hot
think
tip,
you
guys,
should hope.
Install a kitchen sink in your bathroom. You'll love it.
Hot tips. All right. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.